to Monday Meetings with Marie. I'm Marie, brand strategist and designer, and this is a series that I created where we talk all about branding so you can understand how to better brand your business. Today's episode is all about brand recognition, what it is, why it's important for your business, and how you can increase your brand's recognition. Okay, so first of all, what the heck is brand recognition? Brand recognition is basically how easy it is for your audience to correctly identify your brand. So this means they see your brand and they automatically know that that is your brand. That's not somebody else's brand, or it's not this brand. It's basically your brand being unique enough to have its own identity. So how do you go about building a brand's recognition? Through repetition and consistency. Let's talk about it. Okay, so quick example. Let's just say there is a stove and one of the eyes are on. There's a toddler running around and all they see is a red eye. They're like, ooh, it's glowing red. They go and they touch it and they get burns, okay? They don't really understand why, but let's just say a couple weeks later, they see that same stove, one of the eyes, it could be a different eye, it could be the same eye, it doesn't matter, but it's red. And they touch it again and guess what? They get burnt. Repetition and consistency. Every single time they've gotten burnt, it's because that eye was repeatedly red and consistently hot. They're going to understand not to touch red eyes because red eyes equals hot eyes. And this is essentially the same thing with your audience because it takes a consumer around 5 to 7 times to see your brand for them to remember it. So your brand showing up repeatedly and consistently looking the same is going to create familiarity amongst your audience. And guess what? Humans associate familiar things with trust. I mean, I'm not going to trust something I've only seen once, but if I've seen something repeatedly over and over and over again, I'm going to trust it. And this is the exact same thing with your business. And a branding tool that you absolutely cannot do without is identity design. Identity design is what's going to keep your brand consistent and it's going to help you increase your brand's recognition. So identity design is essentially a set of founding visual design elements such as your logos, your color palettes, your fonts, any illustrations that you may have, any brand patterns, anything of the sort that you would typically get in a document form from a brand designer. And these are elements that you are going to be using consistently among your brand. You're going to use the same colors, you're going to use the same fonts, you're going to use the same logo variations, you're going to use the same illustrations, the same patterns, all of that stuff. All big multi-billion-dollar brands understand this, which is why they have set colors and set fonts. And a lot of these brands are easily recognizable without seeing their logo and without seeing any images, without hearing anything. They're easily recognizable because of their colors. Colors is a huge part of your brand recognition and your brand identity. In fact, color is able to improve memory by up to 80%. You having a consistent color is going to make your audience remember your brand. And I'm actually going to test you right now and put up a famous brand's colors and you're going to have 3 seconds to guess correctly. If you are able to correctly identify that brand simply by its colors, what does that tell you? It means that you need to also be consistent. You can't have a brand that just doesn't look uniform or put together. Without a brand identity, that's what it's going to look like. Example, you have a purple logo, but your website is teal, but you're posting on social media in a hot pink color, and it's like, is this the same brand? What's going on? You've got 3 different fonts on one page of your website, 4 other different fonts on your social media, 2 other different fonts in your logo. Nothing's consistent. It looks sloppy, it looks unprofessional, and overall it doesn't look trustworthy. And your audience is confused. So now that you know that you need a brand identity, you can't just rush into picking any set of colors or any fonts because guess what? Brand identity is based off of strategy. It's not, oh, I like pink and I like gray and I like luxury colors, so that's what I'm going to make my brand. Your brand isn't for you though. You get what I'm saying? Brand recognition is how easy it is for your audience to identify your brand, not for you to identify your brand. So you're going to need to look at your target audience, look at your brand score and your brand strategy, which we went over in the episode previous to this, and you're gonna have to create and structure a brand identity that fits your strategy, if you get what I mean. So, quick example, let's say there is a new daycare opening up, right? And that daycare wants to look professional. And because that daycare wants to look so professional, they use a color and a font that doesn't really speak to the purpose of the business. I mean, it's a daycare. It's supposed to be fun, inviting. It's supposed to be where kids can learn and play and just overall be taken care of. It's supposed to be a caring environment, but the colors and the fonts that they've chosen is making me feel like this is some sort of high-end bank. It's making me feel like I'm in a corporate office, right? But if we switch up those colors, make the colors more fun, make the font more child-friendly, guess what? Then it's going to look like an actual daycare. And then that brand's identity and that brand's strategy and messaging and voice and personality are going to match, which is going to make the brand recognition even stronger. So that is the end of today's episode. If you take anything away from this, take away that you need a brand identity design. It's not something that you can cheap out on or can just do whatever, because your brand recognition is going to directly affect the reach that your brand has. And throughout this video, if you realize that your brand identity needs some work, you can always come to me. I am a brand strategist and designer, and my packages range all the way from entry-level design and strategy to full-scale branding. And at the time of filming this, my website is not up. Maybe by the time you're watching it, it may be up. But I currently have my landing page set up so that you can join the waitlist, so that whenever I open up my inquiries, you and your brand will be first priority. And as usual, if you liked this video, go ahead and give me a like, subscribe, and you can always keep up with me on Instagram. I post very frequently on there. But that is all. I will see you guys in the next episode of Monday Meetings with Marie every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.